Okay. So welcome along to our, I think this is our 47th webinar that we've run. Great to have you on board. Sort of make sure that you've got a chance to download the guide and the checklist. There's a link in the chat box there for you to go and get that if you haven't got one. But today's webinar, we're going to take you through some of that. It's probably going to be a little bit longer than the 45 minutes I promised. Bit of a dry run through today, and there's a fair bit to cover, so I might go a little bit longer, so apologies for that. So I guess at the moment, I'm finding that COVID-19 has been a really interesting time for many. The lockdown has really spurred some businesses to new heights, others to despair, and there's a whole heap of people in the middle. It's been all over the place. And I think it's been reasonably indiscriminate, because I've seen really healthy businesses that have suffered, and then at the same time I've also seen businesses that were quite poorly run, I believe, that have gone really, really well. It's all over the place. And I guess when we start thinking about what we're going to talk about today, I really want to just step you through our three-phase model for getting your business to thrive post-COVID-19. Yeah, and then talk about some options for moving forward. Now, our model has been, so far we've been talking to people about is this survive, adapt, thrive model, where what we're trying to look at is making sure you batten down the hatches, and then think about adapting. How do we adapt to this new environment? What changes do we need to make? And then how do we push it forward so that we really start to thrive? So today's webinar, we've talked about the survive stuff in the past. Today's webinar is really going to be about adapt and thrive. And if you're still in the survive mode and you're still trying to work out what the hell's going on, then please go to the website, to the Shifft website, and there's we've got a survival guide there. We've got a whole heap of resources for you. So please don't feel like you've been left out. So let's just talk now about I guess COVID-19, and why am I suggesting that we probably really want to put the hammer down now? You've heard me talk about putting the hammer down, to double down on things and get going. As you see, COVID-19 restrictions are starting to relax. We're starting to see things really started to lift and really started to take things to that next level. It takes time to rebuild relationships. It takes time to build momentum in your marketing and sales. I often say it takes you, 3 to 6 months to build some real momentum in marketing and sales. And now is the time to get started on that, particularly as restrictions are starting to lose. Don't also forget that your clients and prospects have been looking around. Yeah. So often I've been talking to people who are saying, our business is in a bit of a poor position at the moment from a cash flow point of view, but when it comes back, you're somebody you want to talk to. So people are looking around. Okay. Your clients will also be looking around. So people will be taking the time to look around. And I think you'll find that traditional loyalties in some businesses will be severely tested in that phase. Now, to help you through this, we've sort of mapped out a three-phase model to help you get through this process of, I guess, resetting where we want to be. And we've got sort of three phases in it. We've got to stop and reflect. We've got to reset your strategy phase, and then we've got to set your plan in motion phase. And I think it's really important that you do all three of these phases, because I'm finding too many businesses are racing off to do stuff again. So we're racing out there to do as much stuff as we can without having a clear plan, without having a clear strategy for how we're going to make this happen, and not recognizing that the game has changed. There are too many people sitting back saying, oh yeah, well, it's just business as usual. I don't think it's business as usual anymore. I think there's going to be some great opportunities for you, but we need to take the time to sit back and just stop, reflect, reset the strategy, and then get things going. It doesn't have to take a lot of time, but I really think you need to do it. So first up, I just wanted to talk about the stop phase, the stop, prop, and reflect. So just take that time. And initially, I really want you to just take a second, and I want you to think about COVID-19, and I want you to ask two questions of yourself. What impact has it had on you and your business? I want you to make a couple of notes. Just write down some things. What are three impacts it's probably had on you and your business? So take a second to do that. What are the impacts it's really had? And then how does that make you feel? Yeah, and I want you to type into the if you're brave enough, into the chat box how does it make you feel? And if you want a bit of an anonymity, you can type it into the Q&A area if you like. Yeah. So how does it make you feel? Uncertain, crazy, yeah, busier, yeah, yeah, lots of worried people, yeah. How has it made you feel? Yeah, busy but not with the right stuff. Yeah, it's a good one. So focused on things, on keeping busy sometimes, but not necessarily on the things we need to be busy on. Yeah, disappointed. Yeah, what's possible? Yeah, exactly. There's been opportunities. We don't know. Yeah. So yeah, and some people have grown significantly. So working from home has been really good. So it's made you feel really good, Justin. Yeah. Focusing on opportunities. Yeah. Uncertain future, Colin. Exactly. I'm finding that people are, they're often in two camps. We're uncertain about where we're heading and what the future holds for us, or we're pretty happy with what's happened, and because some businesses have gone really well. So, I just want you to, I think it's important that you validate your feelings. This is not necessarily something that you that we need to be worried about, because it's a very uncertain time for lots of people. And the more media that you read, and the more challenging the situation is around the world and stuff, the more negative the stuff is, I think the harder it is to be positive. Yeah. So there's lots of impacts. Yeah. Yeah. And, lots of different things happening. So that's the impact of COVID-19 at the moment. So now I want you to, the first step in our process really is to think about what's happening and what's happened because of COVID. And I like to use this really simple business, you call it a value chain model. You've seen me use it in various webinars in the past. And let's just think about, so what's happened with our suppliers? So what changes have happened with our suppliers, And I'm talking to clients where some of our suppliers haven't been able to supply for whatever reasons. And we're starting to think about, okay, do we have suppliers in different countries, in different places, in different states or whatever? So think about your suppliers. Think about what's happening in your industry. We're going to talk about competitors in a little minute, but what's been happening in your industry? What's been happening to the competition? There have been mergers, acquisitions. Will some of your competitors disappear? Are there going to be opportunities for us to buy up their businesses or usurp their clients in some way? So what's happening in your industry? What's happening with our channels and direct customers? So, the channels are your channels to market, but your direct customers are if you're, for instance, you may sell product to Woolworths or Coles, who then send it on to the end consumer. So they become your direct customer. So what's happening with them? So what changes have happened for them, and how are things going on? And then lastly, what changes are happening for the consumer, the person or the business who consumes your product or service? So I want you to think through those sorts of issues as part of this planning phase. Now, we're going to skip through most of these reasonably swiftly, but there's plenty of resources there in the checklist to help you get through this. So there's videos on all these pieces. What are the competition up to? My advice here is to do a competitor analysis, really quick and easy thing to do. And we're going to actually talk to you about how you might be able to do that in the future. It's not actually in the guide, but it's something that I've sort of overlooked, but it's a really important thing to do, is that competitor analysis. And then I think you want to start to summarize the thing and think about the changes. So what changes has COVID forced upon your business? And there'll be a number of changes that were forced upon you or that you've made. And then what changes will you keep and why? Why do you want to keep them? It might be less travel, more Zoom stuff. It might be a whole heap of things you want to work on. But what changes will you keep? What changes will you discard and why? And just be careful you're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. You know what I mean? So make sure you're doing that. And then lastly, are there any financial constraints to you moving forward? So now is the time to make sure that you get financially sound and that and you've come out of this in the best position possible. But understand what those financial constraints might be, just so you're not writing checks you can't cash. In terms of you're saying you want to go and do this, but you actually don't have the financial resources to pull that off. And there may be other ways you need to think about those financial constraints. And then I want you to summarize it. So I think strategic SWOT is a fantastic tool to summarize all this sort of stuff. So we think about what are the competitive strengths? What are our real strengths at the moment? What are our real weaknesses at the moment? Compared to the competition, what are our weaknesses? What are the real opportunities and threats that we can take advantage of? You want real opportunities and real threats. You don't want a threat yet is not necessarily meteor strike. So he'll get struck down by a meteor tomorrow, but it's not a real threat to you and your business. So put down the real threats, and there may only be one or two. There may not be really a lot of real threats to your business. And then you can use our strategic SWOT methodology to say, okay, how do we take advantage of the opportunities? How do we build on our strengths? How do we overcome our weaknesses? How do we overcome our threats? And how do we protect ourselves when our weaknesses and our threats combine? So to create some actions for you to move forward. So out of strategic SWOT, we got a video from this on our website. It'll take you through that methodology for going from SWOT to action. And I think it's a really powerful tool and a great way to summarize this sort of stop phase of the plan. So the next phase then is to strategize. And I'm sure you're just sick of me talking about you need a strategy and we need to get clear on it. And for me, a strategy is something that's medium term, a medium term action, large in scope. So it's something that we're going to do in the next, I think timeframes have been condensed at the moment. So I'm going to say the next 12 months. So a strategy we need to put in place, but it's large in scope. So upgrading your website is not a strategy, all right? But implementing a digital marketing plan is a strategy because it's large in scope, and it has a number of components to it. That's the way I tend to look at strategies. Okay, so what we're talking about here with strategize is probably the quick way is to reset your current strategic plan. And I've sort of developed these sort of the 7 R's of a strategic reset, because we don't necessarily need to start from scratch with our strategic plan. Now, interestingly, I started this process on my own business, and I actually went right back to scratch. So I actually went back and did a full strategic plan on my business right from the start, and it was really quite useful, because I went right back to vision, mission, values, all that sort of stuff, and I made sure that I didn't just tick over them and go, yeah, whatever I had before will be good. I actually went with a blank sheet of paper and did them all again. It's really quite a good process, and actually you can do it quite quickly if you need to. But we've got seven steps. So, revise your foundations, redefine your target market, rework your offer, reset your focus, review your marketing and sales processes, remap your business model, and then recalculate your budgets and cash flow. Now, I'm going to skip through some of these. I'm not going to spend all the time on them, but we'll skip through a couple of them and do another couple in detail. So make sure you update your strategic foundations, right? So they're the elements of strategic plan that I think should sit under and underpin a lot of your decision making in your business. Your vision, where do you want to be? What do you want that to look like in the future? I often call that your future landscape, but that vision and that understanding of what you want to be. The second is your mission or your purpose. Why are you in business, and what is the purpose of your business? What does it strive to do? The values, what are the values and the behaviors that should drive your business activity, and set the standards for you and your team to operate? And lastly, what are your objectives? And I like to look at objectives in 4 key areas: in marketing, in operations, in terms of our people, and lastly, in terms of finance. So we set some objectives there, and if you look at previous webinars and videos and stuff, there's a fair bit of stuff on setting objectives for you. So that's the first phase. The second step is to redefine your avatar. Yeah. And I'm sure you're sick of me mentioning this. I think we've mentioned avatars in every one of the last 10 webinars that I've done around your target market. But it's actually really important. Okay. So if you haven't done it yet, I want you to go and watch the videos, pull out the template and fill it out, because really understanding the target market you're aiming for is critical to you refining your strategy, your offer, your pricing, all that sort of stuff. A couple of us were on a phone hookup this morning, on a Zoom hookup this morning, and we were talking about pricing. And unless you get your target market really right, you don't quite get your pricing right. You price too high, too low, all that sort of stuff. That sort of stuff. So use your avatar to really focus your activity moving forward. I think that's absolutely critical. Okay. So, and then the next one is then refining your offer. Now, again, we've discussed this in previous webinars. And, I love this sort of model, this products around model, where you say, what's our core offer around the outside here? Then what are the issues that our customers or our clients have with it? And then what's our answer to that? What are some of the things we can do? And let's build some packages and that create something that our clients really want. So it's about that value exchange, yeah, and about differentiation of your business. Now, I'm actually going to, in another webinar fairly soon, I'm going to work you through this one in a bit of detail, but it's really about making sure you've got a competitive offer that differentiates your business in the marketplace. You can use it to, appropriate price points that really lift the value exchange with your clients. So really important that you refine your offer and understand what are the, what it is that you take to market, and package it up as best you can. Now, resetting your focus. This is a really important step, and it's from it's often called the Ansoff model or the growth matrix, what we call it, and it's a really simple model, but it's really quite powerful. And it basically says for two things. So we've got, existing markets, existing and new. We've got products, we've got existing and new. And then we can look at them in terms of this matrix. So if we've got, if we deliver existing products to existing markets, that's not necessarily to existing clients, but it's existing target markets. So we're aiming with market penetration, right? We're driving the same products into the same market, and we're trying to go deeper into that market. It could very well be you have clients who don't currently buy all your product from you. You've got a product range and they don't buy all your products or all your services, and you may want to expand that. That's okay. All right. The second one is to think about, okay, well, if we've got existing products, do we take them to a new market? Yeah. So the example there, you may currently deliver services to GPs and medicos, and then you may expand into the allied health market. Yeah. Similar product. It goes out to physios and those sorts of things. So think about extending your existing products and services. Sorry, for those of you who only have services, into new markets. The third one is, how do we then take a new product to an existing market? Yeah? So we have a new product we want to take to our marketplace. That's the third one, and then the last one is a new product to a new market. Now, the challenge here is that most people want to go straight to here. We want to go and deliver something to a new product that it's a brand new product for us, and we want to take it to a market that we've never dealt with before. It's the most difficult, but it's often where people go first. So I just want you to take a second and think about your business moving forward. Where's the strategy going to be for you? Which quadrants are going to be in? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Are you going to take new products to existing target market? Or are you just going to expand? Are you just going to, that market penetration? Or are you going to try and expand into some new markets and do some different things? And I don't mind if you want to go into diversification, that's fine. But you need to make sure you've got a great reason for that. And in this current COVID thing, maybe your markets have changed that much that you need to go somewhere different and do something completely different. Anyway, just type into the chat box or the Q&A area. I think they're going to be using the chat box. But which quadrant do you think that most of your products are going to be in, or most of your growth is going to come from in the future? Yeah. So a little bit of 1 and 2. Yeah. So a bit of market. So really, it's still existing products, but into new and different ones. Yeah. 3 and 4. Okay, Bill. So you're going to take on some new products out there. Okay. So market expansion, Colin. Yep. Yeah. I think that's appropriate for you. Yeah. 2 and 3, Damien. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. New markets and new products. Yeah. Exciting times. Yeah. And, 3, product expansion. Good stuff. Yeah. So we're getting a real mix, which is what I often find, but I find it's really useful to focus you on where you need to be and what you need to be doing and where are the real opportunities for you. Yeah. Because too often we just stick to the knitting, or we don't think about it, or we just race out and try and do the most complex stuff. Okay. So we're still coming in market expansion. We've got 3 and 4. Okay, cool. some good things here. So take your time just to maybe go back over this and think about it, and then say to yourself, okay, if that's what I'm going to do, if I'm going to move into quadrant 3, sorry, what are the actions I need to take? What are the actions we need to be taking if we're going to do that? And if we're going to do it properly, do we have a clear marketing plan? What have we done in terms of social media, digital marketing, traditional marketing? We're going to talk about that in a second, because those things are important. Yeah. So let's talk about where you might go with your marketing, because it's pretty important. You also want to make sure that you've got your product strategy right. Sorry, before we move on. So that's, all those things, make sure you get the target market. What's our product actually look like? How do we package it up? Let's get the price points right to that target market. Let's get our distribution strategy right. How are we going to deliver the product? All those sort of things need to be right and need to be clear before you start thinking about how you're going to promote your product. All right, so let's talk about how you promote. So how will you market or promote your business? Yeah, often we confuse marketing and promotion, and this is definitely the promotions phase of it. Again, I've talked this ad nauseum about this one again. 3 key areas. You need to do some networking. You need to do some broadcast activities. You need to do some one-on-one. Networking is about getting out there and talking to people, because people buy from people. And I should mention that depending on your business, you may need to do, a lot more of one of these than another. If you've got 100% online business, then networking may not have that bigger benefit for you. It may, but it may not. So you just need to be thinking about your business and how you're going to market it and what you're going to do. But networking is really important. I know a number of us here are from BXN, BX Business Networks. I'm finding it really useful at the moment, because all these networking groups are online, so it's relatively easy just to jump online, join in with a meeting, connect with people from all over Australia, and then come back. Whereas in the good old days, and before post-COVID, we all went to breakfast somewhere. So unless you were within an hour of a breakfast venue, then you probably didn't go to those meetings. So I think that the networking part of it's good. The broadcast activities, that's all your typical stuff, your web, your social media, your direct contact. So don't underestimate the power of direct emails and those sort of things to help you drive your business. And then advertising. Don't forget the traditional advertising things often work. And of course, you've got your digital options now with advertising, Facebook, Google AdWords, all those sort of things. But you want to be clear on your objectives and your budget with those things and the results that you want to get from them. Because it's real easy to spend money and not get any work. And the last one is one-on-one. So out of your networking, your broadcast activity, I think you should be finding some people who are centers of influence or referral sources for you that can help you to grow your business. Yeah, and they could be partners, but they could be collaborators, but they could also just be a great referral source for you that helps you move your business into another place. Now, at the end of this, you need or you should implement a 90-day contact program. It is the only thing I tell my clients that they must do. And, there's a few of you online here today, and you'll be sick of me talking to you about this, but you must put a 90-day contact program in place. And if you're unsure of where to find that, go to my website. On the homepage, there's a thing that'll take you to our 90-day contact program. I found it is probably the most important thing you can do in your business moving forward for continual growth. All right. Now, we've done all the sort of strategic reset stuff. I find that Osterwalder's business model canvas is a magnificent tool, absolutely magnificent tool for pulling all this together. It's really simple. I think there's a 2-minute video that explains it with a link to that on the website. It's not me. It's actually Osterwalder's people have done it. It's a fantastic video, and basically it just says, sorry, I've got things in the place in the way here, but if this is our target market, then what's the value proposition? What do we give them? What do they demand from us? Each of those target markets. What are the bundles of products and services that we have? What are the channels that we use to deliver those products, and how do we contact them? So what are the key channels? How do we build relationships with them? What type of relationship do we have with them, and how do we do that? All those things together help you create your revenue streams, right? So they help you build your income matrix, if you like, yeah. And so how do we generate our cash? And if we take this value proposition, we say, well, what are the key the key activities that we need in order to execute on these value propositions? What are the key partners we need to have in order to make it happen? And what are the key resources that we need in order to do that? And from that, you can then build a simple cost structure. And there are a couple of really good apps on this. There's an app I've got on my iPad that is a great app for doing this. It's fantastic. And it's actually got the budgeting and everything built into the bottom of it. So it's really quite clever. But there are some other apps. There's lots of free ones on the interweb that you can go and download that'll help you build your business model canvas. I just find it's an excellent tool to summarize what's really going on and to put it down in an area, in a place that matters. Okay. So just going to stop there for a second. We've covered through the strategize phase. Have you got any questions? Are there any questions that you would like to ask at this phase about either the stop or the strategize phase? Because we covered a lot of material very, very quickly. All good? Excellent. Yeah, Damien, that business model canvas is just brilliant. It's so simple and it's so easy. I wished I developed it anyway. But like all good things, we can borrow somebody else's knowledge and apply that in our own businesses. Okay, I'll just keep monitoring the question thing. If there's any questions pop up, then we'll deal with them. Yeah. All right. So the last phase of our model here really is setting things in place, right? And that's about making it happen for me. And this is actually the hardest part, because doing the planning is relatively easy, okay? But implementation is the hardest part of this whole process, all right? So we can have a great plan. If we don't implement it, it's actually been a complete waste of time. So one of the things I like to say is let's put more effort into implementation than we put into planning. I mean, I think you need a plan. I think you need a strategy, but I would rather you have a simple plan that you can execute and you do execute than have a really detailed, complex plan that you can't implement. So, making sure this is, I think it's really, really important. So the first thing is, collate the previous steps. So just go back and look at the stop phase, look at the strategize phase, and pull those together. So look at your SWOT analysis, look at the actions that dropped out. Look at the opportunities that may have come out for you out of the current situation. Look at how you've said you're going to reset your strategy. So what are the actions you're going to take? What things do you need to do in order to make that happen? And just take the time to collate those and pull them into a list. And then I'd suggest you build them into a plan. And so what I like to do is say, well, what are we going to do in the next 12 months? So what's our operating plan going to look like for the next 12 months? And we've got videos on how to fill this template out. But essentially what we're saying is what are we going to do in the next 12 months to make this happen? Yeah. And at the end of 12 months, you need to be happy with the results. So what are we trying to achieve and where are we going to go? And once you've got your 12-month plan, then it's a matter of sitting back and saying, righto, if that's where we want to be in 12 months' time, what do I have to do in the next 90 days in order to make this happen? Yeah. And we've got a template for that, of course. Yeah. And therefore you're just cascading your plan. You're saying, if that's where I want to be in 12 months, that's fine. But what have I got to do in 90 days to make it happen? And the 90-day plan is really, really useful. Okay. So, for me, it's then about if you write it down, then you've got something to hold yourself accountable to, or with your coach or your accountant or whoever you happen to be working with, that they can hold you accountable to that plan. You've got something to talk about. So how are you going with that? Where are you up to? All those sorts of things. And all of a sudden you can hold yourself accountable. You and your business partner or your spouse, can hold each other accountable to that. You can say, let's talk about this because this is what I said we were going to do. Now your plans can change. That's all right. But you change the written stuff as well. Okay. That's why we do simple one-page plans so that you can then convert that stuff and it's easy to change. It's not like you got to rework a whole huge document. You just punch it out. Okay. So I want you to stop now, and I want you to think about the impact this will have on you. And I'm going to suggest you do something for me. So I want you to just stop for a second. I want you to close your eyes. You take a deep breath, let it out. And I want to imagine yourself in 12 months' time. And in 12 months' time, when you've worked through all three phases, you've actually implemented a really good plan, and it's really happening, what will be the impacts on your business? And I want you to write down the first three things that jump into your head. So write down the first three impacts. If you successfully put a plan in place, what will the impacts be for you? You don't have to write them into the chat thing, just write them down. And then when you've got your three things, I want you to think through, how will that make you feel? Yeah, because I want you to own the emotion around this, because it's really important for motivation. Yeah, that you say, righto, if we do this stuff, this is how it make me feel, because it's feelings that drive things. And then I'd like you to put that feeling, how will it make you feel, into the chat box. How does it make you feel? Get a great plan and you kicked it out of the park. Obviously, you never played rugby with me. Couldn't kick anything out of the park. But anyway, let's not go there. Could throw it further than I can kick it. How does it make you feel? Yeah. Party time? Yeah. Freaking great. Yep. Yeah. Excited? Fantastic. Yeah. A lot of motivation there. Yeah. 1 foot taller and bulletproof. Yeah. Yeah. Strong sense of achievement. Focus. Excellent. Excellent. All right. Yeah, it gives you a good validation, doesn't it? Yeah, that sense of achievement, validation that you've actually done something, that you're on the right track. Yeah. Okay. Really powerful stuff. So, I guess the reason I want you to think that through is because I want you to be quite motivated to do this. And so, if you think about it now, developing a Thrive plan and implementing is something that you really need to do, then I actually want you to do something for me. I want you to commit to something, to one of the next two actions, in the next short period. You can pick when the period is, and both these actions won't require you spend any money, so it's not like it's a trap that I've locked you into something. What I want you to do is focus on one of these two actions. You can do both if you want to, but just pick one of them. The first one I want you to do is I want you to join me for next Tuesday at 3 p.m. Normally I have it's like a client afternoon, our business leader forum, but I want you to join me for that afternoon for 90 minutes, no charge. And we're going to work through, so it's not going to be like this, we're just going to talk. We're actually going to work through the competitor analysis and your offer. So we're going to take some time to work through those. Be like-minded business owners like yourselves. We'll get together and it's going to be focused work on your business. We're going to break off into little groups and we're going to work on some of these things. All right. So that's the first thing I'd like you to think about. And if you want to be part of that, that's great. Just let me know in the chat box or send me an email or a text. I don't mind. There's no cost and I'd just love to have you on. Okay. So that's the first thing, because I really want you guys to do that. All right. We've got a couple of people in. That's fantastic. I'll send you the link and you can register for it. We'll make sure you're there, and we'll send the links out after the webinar. But yeah, happy to have you guys along, because I really want you to get to actually take action on some of this stuff. And then the second one then is simply to book a call with me. Yeah. So if you're unable to, even if you want to make that session, I would love you to book a call with me, because what I want to really do is discuss your COVID Thrive strategy with you to make sure that your business is ready to thrive. So I really want to talk through your strategy with you, pressure test it if you like, to make sure that you're clear on what you're going to do, so you set yourself up for success. All right. And I know I'm pushing on this a bit, but for me, time is fleeting at the moment. I think you have a short period of time in which to actually get your strategy straight, start to ramp up your marketing and stuff around that. But ramping your marketing without having a clear strategy is almost a waste of time. So let's get our marketing and our strategy in alignment and make it happen. Yeah, and I'm really happy to help you out as part of this process, because I'd love to see you all succeed. And I really want you to just take that sort of rapid plan sort of action to move ahead. All right. So for me, it's having a clear planned action that we put into place quickly, but not just any old action. Okay. So that's where we're heading with that now. That's up here. Righto. Got a few people here going to join us. That'll be great. All right. So for those of you who are who are not going to join us next Tuesday, then please just book in and just book a phone call with me, a Zoom call with me. I'll have a call like this, and I'll get to do a little bit of pre-work beforehand, just so I don't waste your time, and we'll get stuck into it. But you may turn up and go, I've got no idea what to do, and we'll talk about how we might be able to help you with that. And at the end of the day, out of that call, I would love you to walk away with a clear idea of what you're going to focus on and what you're going to do. Okay, so that's that. So that's the end of our sort of webinar today. Three-phase, our three-phase model. Set where we're going to be. Stop. Have a think about where we've come from and what's happened. Strategize where we're going to go, and then lastly, set it in place. And make it happen. That's a simple strategy. That's a simple plan. We've got a checklist. We've got a guide to help you through this process. Heaps of resources on the website, and you can log in there. Just the guide has actually got links to most of the resources, but there's a ton of resources there for you. Just happy to help you out and really help you get then. Okay, yeah, sure. That's fine, Josie. So any questions before we go? We covered a bit of stuff, and I'm actually a little bit ahead of schedule, so that's all right. Any questions about the process or where we're going to head with it and what you're going to do with it? Try to give you as much information as we can in a short period of time. But if you've got questions, happy to hang around and answer those. And for those of you who need to head off, then fantastic. And great to have you on board. We'll be running, getting back into running regular webinars. So we'll try and run at least one a month, and then we'll be able to work with you, put you through some of these difficult times we're going through, and hopefully we'll come out the other side in a better position than we went in. All right. So no questions. I'll call it quits, but I'm happy to hang online for a while. Great to have you with us, guys.